Hi, I'm Whitney.
And I'm Alex, and we're moms, registered dietitian nutritionists, and the co-founders of Plant-Based Juniors.
Soy is a highly controversial food with a lot of fear-mongering surrounding its consumption.
Many so-called nutrition experts make a lot of lofty claims about it without evidence to back up their statements.
We prefer to stick to peer-reviewed research studies for our nutrition information. The truth is, soy is not only not harmful, it's actually incredibly beneficial for so many conditions.
But you may have missed that message with all of the misguided noise online about soy. So we're going to break down the research to help you understand how soy actually works and how that translates to recommendations for plant-based juniors.
Let's first start with the biological effects of soy. Soybeans contain a combination of carbohydrates, fat, and protein. They're also a great source of calcium and iron, two nutrients of importance for plant-based juniors. Some of the proteins found in soy have been shown to have anti-cancer properties, but it's the phytochemicals known as isoflavones that we hear the most about. The amount of isoflavones in different soy products varies widely from high amounts in soy flour and soy protein to lower amounts in soy milk and tofu. The amount depends on growth conditions and processing.
These isoflavones are known as phytoestrogens, meaning they are structurally similar to the estrogen our body produces, and therefore, they have the ability to bind to our body's estrogen receptors. This is one reason some people incorrectly think that soy is bad. They claim that soy binds to estrogen receptors and triggers cell growth, much like in hormone-sensitive cancers like breast, prostate, and ovarian cancer.
But that's frankly not true. Isoflavones are actually what we call selective estrogen receptor modulators, meaning that they selectively activate different estrogen receptors in different organs of the body. Plainly, they act differently depending on where they bind. Isoflavones have been shown to preferentially bind to estrogen receptor beta in breast tissue, which results in anti-growth properties. To compare, estrogen receptor alpha promotes cell growth, and it's this receptor that's activated in estrogen receptor positive breast cancer. So the claims that soy causes breast cancer are actually just the opposite. It may actually prevent and help treat breast cancer.
We know that's a lot of information, but we think it's important to explain the science behind some of these claims so you can see why the topic is so frequently misunderstood. So remember, soy isoflavones likely combat the effects of our own body's estrogen in certain tissues and support them in others, which is why they are beneficial, especially when we look at cancer prevention.
That brings us to our first focus for plant-based juniors, cancer protection. Soy intake in early life may be especially beneficial for preventing breast cancer. One study showed that women who consumed a high amount of soy in childhood and adolescence had a 60% reduced rate of breast cancer later in life compared to women with a low consumption of soy. Studies that have also observed adult consumption of soy show that intake during childhood is likely more important for the prevention of breast cancer than consumption as an adult.
And although there are no studies looking at childhood soy intake and prostate health, it's likely that soy provides a similar protection. Research from the World Health Organization's International Agency for Research on Cancer found that milk consumption was most closely correlated with incidence of prostate cancer, followed second by meat. Meanwhile, soy intake has been associated with lower incidence of prostate cancer, suggesting that early intake may also be beneficial for prevention, just like with breast cancer.
Another common claim is that soy is harmful to children's developing reproductive systems because of isoflavones' similarity to sex hormones. However, as we just discussed, isoflavones aren't the same as sex hormones, and studies of adults who consumed soy infant formula as babies show no difference in endocrine or reproductive function compared to men and women who consumed cow's milk formula as babies.
The problem is that we don't have many well-done studies comparing the long-term health effects of soy intake during childhood. There are no studies on puberty development for boys, and the studies in girls have been mixed. However, the majority of the research shows no difference in levels of sex hormones and age of puberty onset between children who consume higher amounts of soy and those who don't.
In Korea, where the age of puberty onset has been decreasing, soy consumption has remained the same. This suggests that soy doesn't actually play a role in this trend that we're seeing worldwide.
Finally, let's address the myth of soy foods and decreased fertility. If you're trying to conceive, you may have seen misinformation about the effects of phytoestrogens and fertility. Those fears were sparked by the observation that sheep eating large amounts of red clover, a phytoestrogen-containing plant, developed infertility.
But we're not sheep, and the human body doesn't process phytoestrogens the same way that animals do. What the research does show is a potential benefit of soy on fertility. One study of women undergoing IVF found a 77% increase in the chance of live birth with a high intake of soy products. Another randomized controlled trial of couples undergoing infertility treatment showed an increase in live birth rates for those consuming isoflavin supplements. Therefore, we recommend that our moms-to-be and women who are trying to get pregnant include soy regularly in their diet.
Bottom line, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done before we can make definitive statements about soy's health effects on kids. But the research that we do have suggests that the potential benefits far outweigh any potential risk.
As we've outlined, soy is very healthy and shown to be protective against both endocrine and reproductive cancers later in life. But as always, too much of a good thing is good for nothing. We think a varied plant-based diet is best. Based on the amount of soy consumed in the studies we mentioned, researchers recommend kids consume 1 serving of soy foods per day to reap the potential cancer prevention benefits.
Here at PBJ's, we think a few servings of soy per day is healthy and safe for all of us, including our plant-based juniors. It's why we frequently cook with tofu and tempeh and highly recommend fortified soy milk as an easy source of calcium, iron, and B12.
And that's the truth about soy. If you like this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more evidence-based nutrition information about plant-based eating for kids.
And subscribe to our newsletter to get our fact sheet, Milk Myths. Thanks for watching.